Hodgins here. Hey. I just wanted to pop in because I've been talking to some of the fellow piano learners in my Facebook group, New and Returning Piano Learners, about different ways to practice. And I promised that I would pop in and talk about incremental piano practice. It's working for me. So I want to talk today really briefly how to improve your piano skills with incremental piano practice. If you are a piano learner or you're new to it or you're coming back to it, please come and join us. And if you know somebody that might benefit from this, please share this with them. I would really appreciate it. There's going to be a link in the comments down there where you can click to join the group. Basically, I want to talk about, if you're new as a busy adult, or if you're returning to piano as a busy adult like myself, finding time to practice piano as busy adults can be really challenging sometimes. Obviously, I recommend a daily habit of piano practice to make the most impact on your musical progress. And the best way really is to schedule piano practice by figuring out what your best time of day is for your creative energy. So in other words, I don't manage my time by time. I manage it by how I feel physically, emotionally, mentally. For me, my best energy is in the morning. I do my morning prayer routine. I do my breakfast. I do a quick walk. Actually, the other way around. I do a quick walk and then I do breakfast. And then I start practicing piano. For me, practicing piano before my work day begins, for me, it sets a positive tone and it gives me a sense of creative accomplishment. It really starts the tone of the day well for me. So you got to figure out what works for you when your creative energy is best, and highly recommend to schedule it at that time of day and aim to make it a regular daily habit. But when I'm talking about incremental practice, you can actually use this incremental practice approach as part of your regular schedule. But for me, I've been using it because my regular schedule has been a challenge. Sometimes, life events interfere with our chosen practice time frame. Stuff happens at certain times of the year. Unexpected things can occur like at whole chapters of our lives. And these events can really literally knock our piano practice rhythm out of whack. Whether you're a piano player or not, I'm sure you can relate to that in some way. And that's what I've personally experienced. So there were times that I really couldn't practice piano for stretches of weeks because it was so overwhelming. And I've tackled my daily piano practice routine relentlessly. I keep coming back trying to make that daily habit out of it. Take it from me that having a set schedule definitely works best. But when unrelated tasks can bombard you, for me, one technique that helps keep my piano practice moving forward is something called incremental practice. It also helps move the needle forward whenever you find your musical practice stalled or if you feel stuck in a rut at the piano. This really works. When I say incremental practice, what I mean by that is just practicing in short chunks of music, but specifically choosing sections of the musical piece where you struggle the most, like the parts that you're not doing well. Somewhere in the music where you hesitate, you can't play it fluently, you make repeated errors, you feel tense, or you're just plain old uncertain, not confident of it. For example, for me, I've been practicing the Chopin Revolutionary Etude. It's a challenging piece no matter what. And so what I do is I choose a particular section of that Chopin etude that is far more challenging for me technically while playing both hands together at tempo. I slowly play that particular section with both hands together. And if I find that still too challenging, I'll play only one hand in that section. Then I'll play the other hand just of that section. I don't go further. I don't start before. I don't go further on. And then I try both hands together when I can do each hand separately. Once I can play that section without struggle, with both hands together, slowly, correctly, I just leave the Chopin etude altogether and then I shift and I go play something completely different, whether it's memorized repertoire that I run through, some technical exercise, a scale, some chords, arpeggios, a piece that I'm reviewing, that I'm learning, or I'll sight read something new, just something completely different, unrelated to that Chopin Revolutionary Etude. And I'll do that for about 10 or 20 minutes, and then I return to the same Chopin Revolutionary Etude section, and I practice just that section again. And as I just described, I'll do it again. I'll leave the etude and I'll go do something completely different. And now for something completely different. If you remember Monty Python, they used to do that. I'll do something completely different for 10 or 20 minutes. And then I'll come back again to that Chopin Revolutionary Etude in that particular treble section of that piece. I don't go anywhere else in it. I just go to the part that I was working on that gave me the most trouble. And once I can actually play that section with mastery, both hands at tempo. I don't stop there. Instead, once I can play the musical selection correctly, I practice playing only that section accurately multiple times. And I don't mean two or three times. I mean, like 8 to 10 times correctly, multiple times, to really get it in my head so it's not a fluke. And if I make mistakes, wrong answer, I start counting from ground zero. I don't count anything from that point. I only count if I can play it correctly, fluently, confidently, and with mastery consecutively multiple times, like 8 to 10 times. Once I can play that section correctly multiple times, like I said, like 8 to 10 times, not just 2 or 3 times. Once I can do that consecutively, then I'll move on to another chunked area in the revolutionary etude that I need to troubleshoot. And I'll work on that small section in the same way. However, I will say, like I just said, my story is I have been very short on time for my piano practice. So I don't always get to practice the section, the part of incremental practice where you're playing that section multiple times accurately in a row. If I don't have time for that, I'll skip that part of it, but I just keep jump-starting my piano practice with this incremental repetitive approach to only the parts of my music repertoire that need the most work. Because when I do that, it dramatically impacts my musical progress. I really see the difference when I come back to that the next day or the next week or whatever my time allows. And the reason I'm bringing up incremental practice is because, if you don't know me, I taught piano and music for over 30 years, and I've seen too many piano learners. They basically play through every musical selection they have from the start to the finish, including, unfortunately, every mistake. They never actually step back to evaluate where they most need to improve. And this practice approach, unfortunately, playing from start to end, including mistakes and just repeatedly, playing it, that leads to incorrectly learning the music. You're basically playing the music inaccurately as a habit, and you're ingraining the music incorrectly in your brain and your fingers. Instead, incremental practice, that approach, as well as my general approach to music practice, is to work on your weaknesses by going straight toward only the parts of the music that you have not yet mastered. You have to hold off that instant gratification a little bit and go straight to the part that you don't have, that you haven't mastered it yet. This is a very broad kind of overview of how to do it. You have to break it down per whatever your level is and pick the things that are hard for you, whether it's the fingering, being able to play it without hesitation at a steady beat, at tempo, like maybe you're playing it okay, but you need to be able to play it faster, or maybe you can't play it slowly and you need to practice that, because practicing slowly is hard. The point is you have to choose what part of the music is challenging for you personally and go straight for that weakness and practice only that part of the music or that section of the music or that element of the music. Because by going straight to those trouble parts, you're going to see the most progress in your piano playing skills by challenging yourself to strengthen your weakest areas. So I hope this was helpful. I had promised my group members in the New and Returning Piano Learners Facebook group that I would pop in and talk a little bit about how incremental piano practice works for me. That works for me. 2 points. Work on this stuff that's not easy for you, that you haven't mastered, and don't get overwhelmed by it. Break it down into small chunks and just repeat it. And then just focus on that for a good solid, chunk of time, and then do something completely different. Go and do something else that instant gratification, play something you already can play well, play something new or whatever you want to do that to refresh your brain, and then go back to that same section that you're working on and repeat that process. I guarantee if you use this incremental repetitive approach, it will really improve your progress. And then once you've got it mastered, play it correctly, accurately, multiple times, as in 8 to 10 times, not like 2 or 3. Really get it in there so you've really got it solidified in your brain, in your ears, and your fingers. I hope that was helpful to you. And if you're ready to supercharge your piano journey, please come and join New and Returning Piano Learners Facebook group. It's a great group of peers. There are people there that are new, that are returning. They have kids that are playing. They're coming back to support their kids, or they're starting their journey on their own as a busy adult. There are piano teachers there that barely have time to practice, that are getting in there and getting returned to their piano practice, like me. And please do share this with somebody else that might really benefit from this. And let's grow together in this world of musical progress. Thank you so much. Have a great day.